Well, staying with political party funding, and let's take a continental look now. We're joined now by our correspondent in Uganda, and that is Isabel Nakirya. Isabel, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us, what are the similarities in the funding of political parties in Uganda, Kenya, and Nigeria, for instance?
Thank you. In Uganda, the constitution allows that political parties are funded. Under the Political Parties and Organization Act, political parties are funded by the government, and they're funded according to the numerical strength that each party has in parliament, the representation in parliament. Whereas in Nigeria, the law does not allow for political parties to be funded. Any party just funds their own political campaigns, and it will depend on how wealthy a political party or a candidate is. In Kenya, it's the same thing like Uganda. Political parties are funded by the government, and if it's found that a non-citizen is funding a political party, then it's illegal.
Well, talk to us about this issue of the funding of political parties, in particular the source of these funds. Perhaps should we call it private funding of these political parties, Isabel? It appears that it has been a major concern. Why is this so?
You're right. Political party funding source, or the source of political funding, has been a major concern in many of the countries, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya. In Uganda, in particular, donor funding is allowed so long as the political party reveals their source of funding, and the funding is allowed up to a certain extent. But the problem is that most of the political funding that is coming in is got from people or parties that are linked to the political parties, and there is concern that some of these organizations, private organizations that are funding political parties, are doing so just because they want to get rewards or favors from the political parties, especially the incumbent candidates or political ruling parties, because some of them are given tax holidays, some of them are given fundings that may reward them with maybe contracts, renewals of contracts, and in such it kind of escalates corruption in the country.
All right, Isabel, just as a last question to you, we know that these countries that we've mentioned are party to the African Union. They are members also of the African Union. The African Union is one of those organizations that is for political party funding being disclosed, just as the UN is. Is the African Union doing anything about this, ensuring that political parties do disclose their source of funding?
Thank you. During political parties campaigns in countries like Uganda, for instance, there are people or organizations, countries that come in as observers, and many of the observers, like the EU, the AU, always coming during the campaigns, during when the voting is taking place, and they write reports. And of course, they look at what is going on and make reports, recommendations, and of course they want these countries or these parties to disclose their sources of funding. But there is concern because many of the organizations or the political parties do not reveal their source of funding, and so far we've not yet seen political parties that have been reprimanded by the African Union or the EU, but they do make reports and recommendations, and the electoral commissions of the various countries are supposed to find ways of maybe punishing or reprimanding some of the political parties or candidates that are involved in this kind of source of funding that is not revealed.
All right, thank you very much. That was our correspondent from Uganda, Isabel Nakirya.